7 Friends of Sowing Lady. There was a sewing lady who was well skilled in sewing. Whenever the sewing lady sewed away, all became beautiful clothes despite the quality. She had 7 friends. She made beautiful clothes with her 7 friends every day. She fell asleep while she was sewing. Short after, she was sleeping deeply. The sound quickly filled up the room. The first friend, also known as Lady Ruler, she started making a mouth at the sewing lady. This was because when the sewing lady used the ruler to discipline the lazy servant with. The second friend, also known as Young Lady Scissors, was angry. This was because when the scissors didn't work well, sewing lady threw them to the corner of the room. The third friend, who was a young lady needle, and the fourth friend, who was a young lady string, were both scared. This was because sewing lady would melt the needle away when unhappy. Also, she would break the string by biting them with her teeth. The fifth friend, also known as Grandma Thimble, was sad. When sewing lady makes a mistake, Grandma Thimble was often poked by the needle. The sixth friend, also known as the soldering iron lady, was sad as well. She found herself being burned away every day. The seventh friend, also known as Iron Lady, complained. Every time she had to hold her breath in to flatten out the clothes. Lady Ruler stood up from the floor and said,
"I am the best, because without me, you cannot measure the length of the clothes."
Lady Scissors then stood up and said, "Well, I am the best, because without me, you cannot trim the clothes." Young Lady Needle didn't stop herself and said,
"Without me, you can't sew anything, so I am the best."
Young Lady Needle's friend, Young Lady String, also stood up and shouted,
"A high-quality needle is still useless without strings, therefore I am the best."
Grandma Thimble broke her silence and spoke out loud,
"I am the best because I protect Sewing Lady's finger."
Soldering Iron Lady pushed Young Lady Needle and said,
"I am the best because I can fix the mistakes made by the Young Lady Needle."
Lastly, Iron Lady stood up to speak for herself.
"I am the best because I get rid of the wrinkles."
Sewing Lady stretched out as she was waking up. She was surprised by the arguments that all of her 7 friends were having. Then the Sewing Lady replied to her 7 friends, "I can't start to make clothes without the ruler because I won't be able to measure anything. Without the scissors, I can't cut it up. Without the needle or the string, I won't be able to sew. It is a must to have the thimble when sewing, of course. I will need soldering iron to fix my mistakes. Also requires iron to get rid of the wrinkles." The Sewing Lady tried to convince all of them of their individual importance. As all of her 7 friends were listening to the Sewing Lady, they all contributed to make beautiful clothes.